Once you finish boot camp, then what do they tell you?
Then you go to Marine Combat Training, which is where you really, essentially, it's like...
Where's that?
And that one's at, oh my God, why am I drawing a blank?
I don't know. She's blanking out.
I'm thinking...
She's losing it now.
I know, I'm losing it now, I know.
Okay, never mind. We might have to edit
that part
out. Why'd you go to Hollywood?
So
Cristin ends up going to Hollywood.
I know.
Were you trying to act in the movie?
I was trying to. I was working with agents, you name it, getting photos, you name it, the whole 9 yards, going to the classes, the courses, you name it. But what I also noticed is I didn't like it. I'm sorry. Nothing, no offense.
I'm not offended. No offense. Believe me, I'm not offended. So how did you hear about the Gary Sinise Foundation?
Right. It was God, like my angels, the universe, everything.
Right around that
It was
time?
right around that time, yes.
Hello and welcome to GSF Podcast, sponsored by the Gary Sinise Foundation's Education and Outreach Initiative, aiming to educate the public on the importance of serving America's veterans, first responders, and their families.
Welcome to the Gary Sinise Foundation Podcast. I'm your host, Cristin Kampsider, and today we have a very special guest, none other than Gary.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about all things the foundation. We're in 2026. We're starting off with a really good, strong start, and we just have so many deep diving questions. So,
wait a minute. I have an idea.
Okay.
Welcome to the Gary Sinise Foundation Podcast, everyone. We have a new guest with us today, and that is Cristin Kampsider. So we're going to turn the tables on Cristin. I just had this idea that maybe we need to get to know Cristin a little bit more. So guess what? We're going to switch seats. Get up.
Oh,
you come
God.
over here. Come on.
Okay.
There we go.
Do I need this?
No, all you need to do is sit down.
Oh gosh.
There we go. Now I'm the host.
My gosh. Okay,
how's it feel over there?
Feels weird.
Okay. Well, guess what?
Are we sure about this?
Yes, we are. I think it's important for folks to know our podcast host a little bit more.
Oh.
So I thought I'd turn the tables on you a little bit. Okay, so you get to sit there, and I get to sit here this time. So,
Sure.
Wait a minute. We're going to go back to the beginning.
Oh, gosh.
All right? So we need to know, first of all, Cristin, and you're going to tell us a little bit about your family. You're going to tell us a little bit about where you're born, grew up.
Okay.
You know, and then there'll be a lot more coming that you'll have to answer, okay? So tell us a little bit about where you grew up and where you were born, mom and dad. Brothers and sisters?
So I grew up, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Okay, I grew
Yes, you have to tell us.
Yes, okay. I grew up in a military family. So my dad, he retired in the Air Force. So I grew up, essentially the Air Force is my family. We bounced around a bit, and I was actually born in California, but then 3 months later, we moved to Hawaii, and I was raised in Hawaii. And then we moved to New Jersey, and then he retired. So,
lived in Hawaii for how long?
About 7.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and then from there, it was quite an adjustment to go from Hawaii then to New Jersey. And so then we were in New Jersey for about 3.5 years. And then he retired after 22 years in the Air Force. And then we moved to Colorado.
So at what base in Hawaii?
We were at Hickam.
Hickam?
Hickam Air
Okay.
Force Base, yeah.
Good.
And then in New Jersey, we were in McGuire.
Okay, so I know both those
Yes,
spots.
yeah. Yep.
Pretty good.
So the military was my upbringing, being on base and just all of this. Not only did I have my family, but it felt like we had just a bigger family. And then when we got out and lived in essentially as civilians, it was, I was lucky because I went to high school at the only high school on a military base. So I had this really interesting. This was in Colorado.
Okay.
In Colorado. So the Air Academy High School is actually on an Air Force base. It's on the Air Force base there. So I still had this thread of military lifestyle even after my dad got out of the military. And so it really was kind of a thorough line service. Essentially, has been in my blood since I was born. And then for me, it was September 11th that ended up really impacting my life.
Okay, we're not going
to go there yet.
Not going to go there yet.
Okay.
I want to know about your mom and dad.
So my mom and my dad, they met. My dad was in the Air Force. He was stationed in Korea. I always hold this over her head. and they met each other on base. Like they had
what
met
base in Korea?
I think it was like Osan.
Osan, okay.
Yeah. And my dad learned a little bit of Korean, so he could speak a little bit of Korean, which was very charming to my mother. And they fell in love, and she ended up kind of running away with my dad to go get married. And so to this day, I always was like, if I ever did anything wrong, I'd be like, I didn't run away and go get married.
Almost what you did, yeah.
I know, kind of. And so they ended up falling in love and getting married pretty quickly. And then they had my sister, and then me, and then my brother.
Okay, your sister?
Yeah. So my sister is, she's actually she does like cybersecurity, and so she lives in Colorado near my parents and myself. And then my brother is actually currently in the Air Force.
Right, and
yeah.
He's
in Montana.
He's in Montana.
Yeah, he's in Malmstrom.
Oh, he is?
Malmstrom, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Was
you
he
just
there
did a concert
when I was there?
Yeah, he wasn't. He was actually doing a family trip, and they were going to Italy, which was terrible timing.
Okay, what do you remember about McGuire Dix? Anything?
I remember just doing kid stuff, riding around on the bikes and getting into, going and sneaking into the woods. Like there was tons of woods. Not that we were doing anything terrible, but it was like we'd make forts and play outside, and we didn't have phones then, so we were just playing baseball every morning, like every afternoon until the sun went down. And
okay, but it was a joint base then, or was it McGuire?
It was just McGuire.
Dix? It was just McGuire.
Yeah.
And now it's a joint base.
Yes,
McGuire
everything
Dix.
has changed. Yeah, it was just McGuire Air Force Base.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Fort Dix was over here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm playing there this year. So
I saw that.
You might have to come back.
I did. I saw that, and I was like, oh my goodness, how weird would it be to see it from a difference from my 9-year-old view to.
Haven't been back there.
I haven't been back there since. No.
Okay.
No.
Well, you're coming.
Okay. Deal.
You're coming. Okay. Your brother is at Malmstrom now.
Yeah. Yep.
And he's been in.
He's going to retire. He's going to retire, I think, in April.
And what's his job?
He works in safety, is what they say.
Okay. So service is in the family.
Yes, very much so.
Really? You get that from your dad?
Definitely from my dad, yeah. And he didn't stop serving. So after he got out of the military, he ended up being a 911 dispatcher, and then he transitioned into becoming a sheriff, and then he's currently a police officer. So he doesn't know the word retirement, and he's been nonstop.
God bless him. A little while later, you go through high school. Then what after high school?
Yeah. So after high school, high school is when, for me, I was in high school when September 11th happened.
In Colorado.
Yeah. In Colorado. Yep. And same as everybody, I knew exactly where I was. It was very, very impactful just realizing at this point of like, I'm on like the cusp of adulthood essentially, and just thinking, wow, like everything's changing, and and just feeling very scared, like what is going to happen with the world essentially. And so for me, I pretty quickly, I knew I was always going to serve in the military. Like I always just felt that in my bones, just from being raised in it. It wasn't something foreign to me. In fact, it was very the opposite of that. But then when September 11th happened, it became this driving force that like, this is what I'm going to do. There's no question. And this is essentially my dream, and I'm going to do it. And so I was really focused on the Air Force, actually, and being a pilot in the Air Force. That was what my big dream was, and I got because
of your dad.
Because of my dad, really, and really it just, I guess it was just the familiarity of it. It didn't seem intimidating. It didn't seem, it just didn't seem foreign. It just seemed like this was the natural thing to do. And like, how cool would it be to be in like a plane like that and just like doing all like, and listen, like Top Gun, we've all seen it, and that was a big thing for, growing up, like seeing the movie and stuff. And it was just like this, there was just very much a cool factor to it, but also just it seemed like a really big challenge too, and something I aspired to do.
But you didn't go into the Air Force.
I didn't.
What changed the course of your military service?
So I got a 4-year full-ride scholarship for the Air Force to any college that I wanted to go to. And I was so excited, and I almost felt like it wasn't real. Like, how did this happen? And I was on my way to leave the house, and I just decided to check the mail. And I checked the mail, and I got a letter from the Air Force saying that they had pulled my scholarship because I had actually had a head injury.
You were about to leave? I
was about to leave to go to college with a full ride scholarship and being like, this is great. Get the letter in the mail. I was thinking, I might as well just check the mail. I don't know how or why. As I'm leaving, I thought, I'll just check it for them and bring the mail inside. And I'm grateful, because I would have if I hadn't done that, I would have gone to college and realized I had no scholarship.
Why did they pull?
So I had a head injury because I was a martial arts instructor in high school, and I had gotten a kneed on my head, and I had bleeding on my brain, and so I had just a really pretty severe head injury. And the Air Force found out about it because my dad was Air Force and I was going through the hospital system, and so they said that they had to pull it from me. They basically pulled my scholarship. And so I thought in that moment,
just because they
thought it was a liability, even though my neurosurgeons, everybody said I was 100% fine. I went through everything I went through all the processes, everything was cleared, everything was fine, but they just felt like, nope, not going to happen. So, but it was, I feel like looking back, it definitely felt very meant to be. And so, but in that moment, devastated, absolutely, utterly devastated. I just remember standing there on the driveway and thinking, like, wait, my dreams are gone. Like everything.
So you were actually getting ready to like get in the car and go.
I had backed the car in next to the.
And you just happened to read that.
And I just happened to read that, and it was, and I kept reading it because I thought this can't be real.
Yeah. You would have gotten there, and they would have said,
and I would have thought that I'm just doing this. This is normal, and then I would have found out. Yeah. So I'm grateful that I found it before, but still, it was tough, and so I ended up going into the car and trying to think through, like, what am I doing? Like, what do I do now? And I happened to, we have a University of Colorado Springs, a college right at the bottom of the hill, and I just drove to it with all my stuff in the back, and I drove to it, and I went to the admissions office and was like, hi, I need to be accepted. Like, I need to go to school. Like, I need to do something. And she's like, are you nuts? Like, what? And I just I had all my transcripts, I had everything because I had everything with me, and I handed it to her, and she was like, okay, let's see what you can get into. Because I just thought, I have no idea what I'm going to do right now. Like, I honestly thought that my military dreams were just done.
You were 18?
I was 18. I was 18. Yep, okay. I was 18.
So you got into the Air Force Academy.
I got a scholarship,
Scholarship, I mean. And so your grades must have been good? You were a good student?
Yeah.
How did you do in high school?
I was a decent student. Like, I definitely felt like I had a very strong driving force, which was my mother. And so she was very, very, the Korean culture is very much, it is, do well in school. And I wasn't, like, I never partied. I never did anything, like, oh my gosh, getting into trouble, no thank you. we were very focused on school and just getting good grades and going to college. Like, that was going to happen. And so...
Were you well behaved in high school?
I was very well behaved. I actually was. I participated in no extracurricular activities.
Unlike your boss, who was a mess in high school.
There was definitely an opposite. Like, I could not even imagine, like, I would have been more terrified of my parents than I think of anybody else finding it out, just because they had high standards.
Same thing with your brother and sister.
Yeah, same thing with my brother and sister. Yep. And so, I was in marching band. I did martial arts.
Marching band. What did you play in marching band?
I played the flute.
Okay, that's right.
I did. We won state.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
excellent.
And so for me, that was my joy. Yeah, really. And martial arts was really a big part of it. And so to the point where I ended up getting my first degree, and then I started teaching people, which then ended up leading to my head injury, and the rest is that.
You had a drive in high school.
I did.
To do well.
Yes.
Isn't this fun? We're getting to know Cristin a little bit more. We're getting a little. So we're going to press on a little bit, because now we're stuck. We don't know what to do.
Right.
The Air Force was the whole thing.
Dream's gone.
You make a different decision as a few days roll on here, right?
So my boyfriend at the time was a terrible student and did terrible in high school. And so he was pursuing the Marine Corps, but enlisting. And I just happened to go and see at the recruiter's office. I think I went like one time and remember just thinking, oh, like, it was just a different world. It was a different perspective. I knew the Air Force, I knew what I was doing, and then I see this and I just thought, oh, that's just interesting. Interesting is the right word. And so as I'm watching the process and as I'm looking at that, I start to notice that the military services don't talk to each other either. So I had assumed that I was blacklisted from everybody. And I just thought that there's no way I could ever ever join the military, ever join anything.
Because you'd been rejected.
Because I'd been rejected and been like, you're done. You're not. And I knew that, and I had thought too, I was like, wonder if I could enlist in the Air Force. But, and so I thought about the service branches and I thought, well, I wonder if I could do this. I wonder if I could go and enlist in the military, in the Marine Corps, and if I just don't mention that I had a head injury, would they ever find out? Like, I've been cleared. I've been deemed completely healthy, totally fine. And so I go to the Marine Corps recruiter's office and I just tell the recruiter, like, hi, I know the spiel. I just want the information. Let me see. You may see me, you may never see me again. And they just said, okay. So they handed me everything and I went and I just, in a way I'd say, like, I prayed about it. I thought about it really long and hard. I thought, is this even possible?
You weren't thinking, okay, I got to try for another college, or
no, I didn't, because I didn't think I could do ROTC. I didn't think anything. I just thought, I want to do this. And honestly, the threat of September 11th was really heavy on my heart. And I just thought, there are people out there who have to do the hard, almost like the hard work or the tougher decisions, or be in the situations that other people hopefully don't ever have to experience or even honestly know about. And I felt like I could do that. I just felt drawn to, and if I couldn't, I felt like I could get trained to understand how to do that. And I was driven to it. And so I just thought. Service, yeah. And so I thought, okay, that's it, I'm gonna do it. And I went there and I went to the Marine Corps recruiter's office and I said, I'm gonna do this. But I also had these stipulations, which was that I did want to have, at the time they gave a bump in the GI Bill so that you could get more covered if you decided to go to college after, or, and so, because at the time it wasn't just like full everything, right? And so I wanted that, and just, and I wanted to be able to get deployed. And so I was a little fearful that would they just say no because I'm a woman, or I didn't, I just want to be very cognizant of that. And my ASVAB scores were high, very high. So they were like, you could have whatever you want.
Oh, gosh.
And
they wanted you.
Right, they wanted me. And I knew that I had to be honestly careful about that I just needed to get in. I needed to get in the door and I needed to get there. And, I knew in my heart that I had a head injury, but I was fine. I had everything in the book that said I was fine, and I was like, I'm gonna do this. So freaking try to stop me. I'm doing this.
So now you're on that train.
Yeah. So now I'm on that train, and they're like, come on, like, join the Marine Corps. And I signed up. They said, absolutely, we will 100% accept you. And I don't know if we want to say this, but I didn't tell them about my head injury. They said,
they never asked about any of that.
They're like, Mom's the word. You're fine. Just go. I'm like, deal.
It all seemed right. Yeah.
It all fit and fell into place. And
you became a jarhead.
Yeah, and I stood on those yellow footprints. I'm still absolutely, utterly terrified of drill instructors. Even former drill instructors.
Wait, how long was it before, from the time that you were accepted to when you got on the use?
It was months. It was just months. I mean, it was pretty quick. I signed up, and I think it was like 2 to 3 months, and I was on the plane flying over, to Parris Island.
Okay.
Yes, and at the time it was split. So the males so San Diego's strictly for the men, and the women only went to Parris Island, which is what we call the real Marine Corps, like the real boot camp. Because it was not only, you're dealing with the elements too, and bugs and sand fleas, and I mean, it is.
Yes, I've been there.
You've been there.
Yes,
I
know
the
bugs.
chiggers and the bugs burrowing in your shins.
I told you when we were training for Forrest Gump, we went out to Parris Island.
I know.
And we watched them beat up on the recruits and everything.
That was me.
And we shot guns, and we did a bunch of stuff.
I know, when you said that, I was like, okay, you experienced a bit of honest to God boot camp.
I observed it.
You okay?
I didn't experience it. No, I observed the youngsters running around, climbing on things.
The chaos.
And, sweating, and
the spit everywhere.
I have this image of this one young Marine just huffing and puffing, trying to get over that. What's that big giant thing you climb up and then you flip and then you climb down?
Oh yeah, the obstacles course.
Yeah, on the obstacle course. We were watching all that, and they were suffering badly.
Yes, the 3 months, there was a lot of suffering, tons of suffering.
So on your first day, you got to tell us your first day in boot camp. What kind of a shock was it?
First day, I remember, I think I was not quite aware of what my decision was, or like what was gonna, what was I getting myself into, until I was on the little tiny, you kind of get on a commuter plane to the airport at Parris Island, or near it. And
you flew into where?
I don't remember. It was just a small airport.
But then you had to get on another plane.
And in the plane, you realize you're surrounded by fellow recruits.
We're
all there, And it was nighttime. We were there probably one of the last planes. I think it was probably around 10 at night, and we get on the bus, and it was on the bus where, oh man, I'm sweating just thinking about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, we're like, you're kind of looking around and going, oh my God, we're driving, we're there. And when the bus stops, it's like, you can feel just everything is quiet. The whole bus ride, there's not a peep. Everybody's just wide-eyed staring and thinking, and
scared to death.
Just scared to death. And then you see, you pull up and you see the yellow footprints out there and you're like, oh my gosh. And the drill instructor jumps on, and I mean, from there, there is never a moment where you don't hear screaming, and they're just, ripping in like, you will get on this, and it's like, you will on this plane, and you will play your, go on the yellow footprints, and like, if you don't respond, they're like, that isn't I, sir. Every single thing is terrifying. Yeah. I remember
and it's at night.
And that's at night, and so, it essentially, in a way, it's kind of like they're herding cattle. Like we were, or like cats, whatever we were. No, we were cattle. We abided by every rule or, command that they gave us. And, you're standing on the footprints, and then you're going through the system where every paperwork, you're signing your life away, you're doing all the things, everything that you can do. And I remember, though, the two things I remember is, like, your body goes into shock. Essentially. So like they'd hand you like food, and I just remember looking at it being like, I can't eat this. Like just like, and trying to like, and everything tasted like there was no taste. And I just remember being like, your body just goes, and I mean, at one point they do let you call your family just to let them know that you've arrived. And I remember being like,
for like 2 seconds.
Like for 2 seconds, yeah. And just being like, hi, I'm here, I'm alive, I love you. And like, that was the end of it. And you don't speak to them for 3 months. Yeah. I mean, there is you don't even know what a phone is at this point. You don't know what TVs are, you don't listen to music, you have no idea what's going on in the world, like nothing. You are essentially cut off from the world, and they basically, in a way, break you down to where you're all, like it's an even playing field. Every recruit is the same. And then they slowly build you back up. They kind of develop your leadership skills and your, how do you essentially be a Marine? And
just to ask, when you're on that plane, you got all the recruits on the plane and everything. How many young women were there?
Very, very few. Men? Yeah, there were.
So you were among just a handful?
Oh, yes. It's a very small amount of women. And there are only a handful of female platoons, and I think I know for us we had a sister platoon, so there was only 2 of us there, two platoons, but I mean the men, there's plenty of them. But they do a really good job of like keeping us very separated. The only time that you would ever combine, and that was only in a room combined, was either at medical or church. And so there are a lot of awakening Christians in the Marine Corps.
They're praying a lot.
There's a lot of praying happening. There's a lot of
just to get through it.
Yes, exactly. Yes, to get through it, and to you're seeing. And in the end, it really, I think church ended up being the time where you felt a little bit like home, or you felt a little bit like you're not in this kind of alternate universe. Where they're just,
getting screamed at every 5 seconds.
Oh my gosh, getting screamed at, getting bit by bugs, sand fleas. I mean, you'd have sand fleas going in your ear, like crawling around in your ear and your eyeballs, everything. It's just constant.
Do you have any stories about something that was, something you did in boot camp or anything like that, where you got really like, you really had to,
Oh yes, I
really
have one.
had to pay for it.
Oh yes. I have plenty of those stories, plenty of them. But I remember the one where I was doing really, really well as a recruit, because for me, I think I turned it all into kind of a game, because they count down everything. Everything's a countdown. Everything. Your whole life is a countdown. And so if you're ever eating with Marines, and we eat very fast, we take showers very quickly, like we do everything's very quickly, because it's just ingrained in you, like there's this countdown, and everything. So for me, it ended up being like a game in a way. So I started doing really, really well, and as part of doing really well, I got to go be selected to go clean the drill instructor's gym, which was just fabulous. So
the drill instructor's gym.
The gym. So they have their own like gym.
Okay.
And so I got to kind of get away from everybody else. Like I got to be in my little, like, a couple of us were selected, and so I'm cleaning in the gym. Well, in the gym, they had a television, a TV, and it was on. And so I'm cleaning, and and in boot camp, like you have no awareness of the world going on. And you almost feel like time stops, like for everybody, not just you.
Well, all you know is that world.
Is that tiny little, this little bubble. And I'm cleaning, And I look over and the TV is on, and I know, and my awareness is now, oh my gosh, the TV is on. And then I go, oh my gosh, like, there's things going on. And so I was like a moth to a flame. I'm like staring at it and moving closer and closer to the point where I'm like in front of the TV, just my head just staring at it, like with a rag in my hand and like a cleaner. And I'm just staring at it, dumbfounded. And I don't even think I wasn't really watching what was, I couldn't even tell you.
Were there drill instructors in there?
There was nobody in there at the
just
time.
All by yourself? Okay.
At the time, there was nobody. So,
okay.
And then one of them walks by, immediately halts, turns their head, locks eyes with me. I don't even notice because I'm still dumbfounded by the fact that there's even a TV on, and immediately about faces comes in and just reams me into smithereens. And I am completely obliterated, and then looks at me and goes, oh, don't worry, I'm gonna tell your drill instructors. And I remember being like, no.
Oh, no.
Like thinking, just when this is bad enough, I know that I am going to be completely like just destroyed.
You're going to pay for this.
I'm going to pay for this tenfold for a while. Yeah. No, there was plenty of that. There were moments where I felt so I ended up being guide for a bit, which is the lead of the platoon, and because I was doing so well, and like there were times where I felt such an overprotectiveness of the girls. And your
platoon was all women?
All women, okay. Yep. And we started with like 82 and we ended with, I think, like 39. Yeah, it's just, whether physical, whether just deciding this isn't like, and they're very, it's hard. You don't just get to go one day and go, no thanks, I'm going home now. Like, it's not that easy. You signed up, you're gonna do this, and they're gonna very much push you to do it, and in a very like it's a
their objective is to keep people
they're keeping you in this
service.
Yep. But I felt an overprotectiveness of the girls, and there was times where I would just say I did things like if they were in trouble, I'd be like it was me, like I'll do it, I'll take the hit, like I'll do whatever, and that was instinctual for me, even in boot camp. For them was just let me just try to do whatever I had to do. So like I know it sounds crazy, but you have to ask to go to the bathroom. You have to request permission, and the person who would request would often get, just ripped apart, because it's just all about, again, breaking you down and building you up. And so I would just be like, I'll do it, I guess it kind of came a little bit more natural to me. I don't know why, now that I think back on it, like, why is that? But I think growing up in military and
you have a drive. There's a drive to succeed that you have just inherently, I think.
Yeah.
And so once you take something on, you got to succeed, or it wasn't worth the time.
Yeah.
And that's what you did. From the time that you started to the time you finished was how long in boot camp?
3 months.
It was 3 months.
3 months of boot camp, then Marine combat training.
And when you look at yourself getting off that plane, getting off that bus and everything, to the time you finished, who was the person at the end versus the person at the beginning?
Wildly different. Yeah. The confidence and the awareness, like the knowledge that I learned, I mean, it is incredible.
So mental strength,
everything,
physical strength, totally different at the end.
Everything. And I mean, every Marine is a rifleman. Men, women, it doesn't matter. You all are. You all trained to be at the core a rifleman. Like you are trained to be a warfighter. And
you were a good shot?
I was good. It was some of my favorite, So much so that when I ended up getting stationed in Japan, like they have an indoor pistols range, and they would bring me in to help train some of the women who were officers who were not they were scared. They're terrified of a gun. And here's this burly man going, all right, ma'am, grab this and, start shooting. And they were scared. So I would go in there as a female and just be like, okay, and I think it just made them feel a little bit at ease with it, but it was fun.
Awesome. So, okay. Kristin's a good shot, everybody. Once you finish boot camp, then what do they tell you?
Then you go to Marine combat training, which is where you really, essentially, it's like.
Where's that?
And that one's at oh my God, why am I drawing a blank?
I don't know. She's blanking out.
I'm thinking.
She's losing it now.
I know, I'm losing it now. I know.
Okay, never mind. We might have to edit
that part
question.
out.
Okay, so
It'll come to me.
So when you finished boot camp,
It's North Carolina.
Tell us where you went.
So after boot camp, you go to Marine combat training, which is essentially where you really learn about, like, it's as if being in combat. So that's where you throw a grenade, you go in these, what we call humps, but really long hikes, like with your 75-pound pack on your back, and you're walking in boots and utes, which is your combat boots and your full gear, and you're essentially learning what it is to be in combat. And it was fun. It was wild, but it was fun. And then after Marine combat training, you then go to your MOS school, which is your military occupational specialty, which for me was, I had signed up to be a combat correspondent. So essentially a journalist and photographer telling the stories and sharing.
Where was that school?
And that was at Fort Meade.
Okay.
And so went to Fort Meade. That school's a lot longer because it's a bit more technical, and it's not technical, I would say it's just you really learning how to write and do interviews and just and marketing and what is it.
So you went into that. Why'd you choose that? What was it about that you said, hey, that's my job. That's what I want to do?
For me, I thought it was the surefire way to get me deployed. I thought, you know what, they're going to need someone to be out there to tell the stories or to be with them.
And this is what year?
And this was 2004.
Okay.
Yeah. And I thought, you know what, like that would be, well, I was trying to think about because I couldn't go in and be, 0311, like, so basically infantry. I couldn't be infantry. So then I thought, what can I be that will get me tied to a unit to then go being a woman? And so for me, I thought that was going to be, it was a shoo-in, at least a closer shoo-in than not. But the thing is, I think at the time I was a terrible writer, so I don't know what I was thinking.
But who planted that into your head? I mean, how do you think combat?
I think when I went to the recruiter's office, one of my things was I want to get deployed, and they said, you know what, this might be this area might be good. Yeah, they gave me the idea. I was like, all right, sign me up. I don't care.
Okay.
Whatever it is, I'll do it. And so but the great thing is that it actually. Wasn't a strength of mine, ended up being writing and communicating and getting the stories and just really shining a light on Marines.
So you went through the school, and that took
went
how
through the
long?
school. That took 3 months. It was a long school, right?
And so where'd you go from there?
And then from there,
to start your job.
To start my actual job, yes. Yeah. So I chose, again, because it was more likely to get deployable, you get to choose East Coast, West Coast, or international. And I chose international. And so
you wanted to get overseas
I wanted to get as close as I could get. And so I did. And so they ended up stationing me to Iwakuni, Japan. And talk about an immersion into not only another culture, but also into what they call, I would say, almost like the real Marine Corps. Because now you're doing a job, you are out, and you're no longer in training mode anymore. You're just in Marine mode. And I was a combat correspondent, so I wrote stories, and I got, deployed, and you name it. And
did you have some good mentors there?
I mean,
people that had been doing the job for a while, and that were your leaders that you thought
I had a lot of, I actually had really great mentors. Some of my best ones were in the school where they were just really motivated and really just gung-ho. And then when I got to the actual Iwakuni, you'd find the ones who were super motivated, and then you find the ones who were kind of salty. They're just like, well, we own, whatever, you young.
You tend to stick with these people.
Yeah,
over there and minimize your contact with the others.
Oh, yeah, yep. And it was definitely an educational experience, and I mean, it was just incredible.
How long at Iwakuni?
So I was supposed to be there for 2 years, but then I ended up extending because I wanted to continue, because I had this great opportunity where the commanding officer of the base gets to choose essentially like an aide. And it was this big deal, like, ooh.
This is like the colonel?
This is the colonel, the colonel of the base, the head honcho. There is no one higher on this base. He gets to choose an aide. And so I threw my name in the list. I was like, oh my gosh, could that, I didn't think it was possible, but I thought, let's see, and I was very, very driven that I was very meticulous about having like a 300 PFT, which is the highest you can have. PFT, which is like your performance. So like how high, so in the Marine Corps you do a 3-mile run, you have to do a flexed arm hang for women. So it's not, for men it's pull-ups. And then crunches, and you can do like 100 crunches in a specific time. And you have to do them all. Like for men, you could do like 20 pull-ups is 100%, and for women, I think it was like 90 seconds or 60 seconds. And then you have to do the 3-mile run. And for men, I think it was like.
So you had a top score.
I had top score. Every single PFT I ever had.
Did that get the attention of the colonel?
It got some attention, yeah. There was that, and then just doing extracurriculars and different, all sorts of things. And so they ended up selecting me, and I remember being like, what? And just so I had to go out of my little public affairs pod, and now I'm in the commanding officer's pod, like in the, the head honcho's.
So you go where
office.
He goes.
I go where he goes. Yep. I'm driving cars. I'm working on his itineraries. I'm doing, I'm working community relations. So he's doing events with the Japanese nationals, and I'm helping with those. I'm all over the map. But the commanding officer was also a pilot, and so part of being his aide was. I had to become a crew chief. So, because he was also flying a lot. He was flying. And so to have me on those planes, I had to be a crew chief. So
planes and helicopters?
Planes. Just this was planes? for planes for him. And a crew chief. So crew chief training was, crew chief training. I am not a natural swimmer. I'm a land. I like the land.
But you have to train in the pool.
But in the crew
and all
chief,
that,
you
right?
got to train in the pool. And at one point, you have to essentially, there's a person who is drowning, and you have to go and jump into the pool with everything on and save them, right? And try to save them. And while you're trying to save them, they essentially try to drown you. And so you have to get them off of you, and then they start to drown. And you have to go then rescue them and get them out of the pool. Me swimming by myself and rescuing myself out of the pool is one thing. Me trying to help another person was a whole different ballgame. It was very, very difficult, but I did it. And then another part of the training is they put you in this mock plane. They call it the tin can, but you sit in a plane and you are strapped in. And they submerge you into water. So you're watching the water float up slowly, up, until it's all the way under. And then the plane flips upside down. So then you're upside down. And then how do you get out to get out of the plane? But they also make you do it blindfolded. So you have, as if things could not get worse. And you have to do the blindfold. They submerge you. So it's really weird when your sense of sight is gone and it's just darkness. First of all, when there's darkness, your imagination starts to go very wild. And the water's creeping up, and you're trying to not think, wait, when does this flip? And then when can I get out? And then how do I get out? Because now my world is disoriented, and you got to do all of it. And then you get your wings. And getting your crew chief wings is a very, very, very big deal. And it was,
you got them.
And it was such an honor, and got to be on all sorts of deployments all over, all over Asia. I mean, it was just incredible.
I remember I had to do a little bit of that kind of training when I went and flew on the F-18.
Yes.
Super Hornet. We were going to go out from San Diego, out the Pacific to the Teddy Roosevelt and land on the Teddy Roosevelt. So I had to train at the Marine Corps Air Station in Miramar.
Yep.
And you learn the drown proofing thing and all that, how to conserve your breath if you have to just float out there in the ocean forever until somebody comes and picks you up and everything. So I remember a little of that. They never submerged me under water like that.
If you'd like to do it, I'm sure someone would offer it for you.
I don't want to do that. I'll just imagine what it was like.
I love the video you sent me of that training where you're in and it's all poofed, like you have that big, like, and then you're in there and the lady's recording you while you're in all the gear, and you've got the flight suit and the all of it, and all you can see is your head, and you're like, I think I'm just gonna take a nap. And you're like floating in the pool.
I was on my back, I've been huffing and puffing, and it just felt so good to just lay there for a second. She thought it was funny, Lieutenant Dan's in the pool.
And that is all your reaction was, I'm just gonna take a nap now. I was like, that is the funniest thing ever.
How long did you work for the Colonel?
I was, for about 2 years. It was a while.
2 years.
Yeah,
okay.
It was a while.
After Iwakuni and the Colonel.
Yep.
Which, by the way, everyone, when I'll get to the Gary Sinise Foundation in a minute, but when Cristin applied for the job, that was one of the things that really popped out of her resume. Was she was an aide to a colonel, and I thought, well, that's a good sign. So after the Colonel.
Yep. After the Colonel, I thought I was going to be a lifer, and then as time went on, I thought, you know what? I think I really want to go to school, and I really want to just try life in a way. And so I got out, and I ended up first I ended up going to Wichita State University because I just really didn't know where I was going, and then eventually I ended up going to Belmont.
You went to Belmont.
I went to Belmont, and I graduated from Belmont. Yep, I did, and loved everything about it. And I got my corporate communications major, and just because communications.
So you wanted to stick with the communications thing coming out of the service.
Yep.
You learned a lot of great things in the service.
So much.
Wanted to stick with that.
Yep.
So
that school was easy. Like college was easy
compared to the Marine Corps.
Oh my gosh, they're like teaching about press releases and all these things, and I'm just looking at it going, I mean, it was just, I'd done this for this is what I did for a living, it was very interesting. I just remember being like, wow, this is not that hard.
So Cristin, I gotta ask you, okay, you go through college, you do well at college, you get out of college and everything. Why'd you go to Hollywood? So Cristin ends up going to Hollywood.
I know. I was a bit of I would say after the military, I did feel like I lost my identity to a degree. And I felt like, and I was very lost. Looking back on it now, I don't think that I really, I think I just didn't transition well from being in the military, feeling like there's this drive, there's this purpose. And I didn't realize like the loss of purpose, how big that was, and how much that really affects you, and on all levels.
And the structure of what
everything.
It is.
Yeah, and not having that was difficult. And focusing on college was one thing, and so what I was doing on the side every now and again was I was doing essentially like kind of, this is so embarrassing, but commercial modeling and like commercials or things like that. And I was doing all sorts of little things like that, and so I thought I even did a little cameo on the show Nashville.
Here in Nashville,
yeah, here
when you were still here.
I was still here. Yeah, I was still here. And so I thought, okay, well, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the thing to do. Like, maybe this is what I want to do,
Show business.
Show business. Let's try it out, right? Oh my gosh, bless. So then I decided, okay, I was doing little things here and there and here, and I thought, I'm just going to move to LA. Like, why not? Graduated from college and flying by the seat of my pants, and just decided on a weekend I'm just going to go, as if LA is the place to like
find
with
yourself.
Welcoming arms.
Yeah, I'm going to find myself in LA. Yeah.
It's like everybody wants this there. And so I ended up in LA and just obviously struggled, but felt still this call to help people. So on my off time, like when I wasn't bartending and trying to figure out a job, finding a job, what can I do here?
Were you trying to act in the movie?
I was trying to. I was working with agents, you name it, getting photos, you name it, the whole 9 yards, going to the classes, the courses, you name it. But what I also noticed is I didn't like it. I'm sorry. No offense.
I'm not offended. Believe me, I'm not offended.
It was just not I just wasn't naturally driven towards, and I think I just didn't find it as my purpose. And so there was this disconnect, and I kept trying to like make it fit and make it work, and it just wasn't working. But what I found is what was starting to make me feel happy was on my off time, I was offering free services to help people, like with organize and design their spaces. So anybody who felt really overwhelmed by their, whether it be their just clutter or their lives or their things, like I would just go in and be like, hey, I can help you. I'll just do it. Like I'll help you, and I'll, so one of them was my improv instructor, and he was a wounded veteran, a disabled veteran, and he was doing improv classes, and he had this really tough time with like all this clutter in his apartment. And so I just went in and I was like, I'll fix it. Like I'll do it. I'll go in, and I did it on a weekend. And then I would go, and my cousin, she was, struggling with some things, but like she needed some help with her clutter. And I was just like, I got you. And I would just go in on weekends and I would help people. And it was my cousin who was like, there are people. And I would do it for free. I mean, maybe like a 6-pack of like beer, but that was it. I was like, I would not, no cost, no nothing. I just didn't, I don't even know why. I was just like, no, why would I'm good. I don't need that. This is not that, this is for you. And it filled me up. It's what kept me going. And so I would try to do all the things, I'm trying to pursue this, but then on the weekends it was my joy was going to do this other thing. Just helping people. And
so let me ask this then. So how did you hear about the Gary Sinise Foundation?
Right. It was God, like my angels, the universe, everything.
Right around that
It was
time?
right around that time, yeah. So my cousin knew of this agency that was helping people find executive assistants or managers or even house managers, you name it. And so she introduced me to her. I talked to her. I told her about my background. I told her about my Marine Corps career, told her all the things. And she was like, oh, yeah, no. Well, you come here, my dear. Like, let me help you out. And I was like, okay. And so she started putting me out there and getting me interviews. And I remember at the time, which was...
Do you have to pay a fee for that?
No, I don't pay anything. Yeah, I didn't have to pay anything. Mm-hmm. Nope, no fee for me. I believe that whoever you lock in with does, though, have to pay a fee. And, which I didn't know about at the time. I didn't know. I'm sorry, I cost you.
It was worth it.
But at the time, I remember she put me out to a couple lawyers and I think Google and different things. And I just remember being like, I felt like I was interviewing them in a way this isn't my joy. This isn't driving me. And I don't really think I like any of these things. And then I remember she texted me and said, hey, I have this opportunity. I can't tell you who it is, but I think it's the right fit. I think this is gonna be really good. But it's a nonprofit. And I was like, And I'm like, well, who is it? And she's like, I can't tell you. And I go, okay. I was like, very vague. So I'm going through all the Hollywood people in my mind, and I'm like, who is it?
Secretive, yeah.
Who is this person? Who is this, who is it? And then eventually, I think the day before the first interview, which I did, she texted to me and texted me the address and texted me that it's you. And I remember I was on the phone with my dad, and I was like, holy shit, it's Lieutenant Dan! I was like, what? Honey? And I just remember being so wait, what? And then I thought, what nonprofit? Because I had not been introduced to this when I was in the military. And the more that I researched it and the more that I saw that you were doing, I was just completely blown away.
And this is, remind everybody what year this is now.
2014.
There you go.
Yeah.
So the foundation had been around for about 3 years at that point.
Yep. It was 6 people. It was tiny.
So when you were in the military, just to back up, when you were in the military, had you heard about anything that I had been doing or anything like that?
No, I did not.
So this was all brand new.
Very new, very new for me. I do have these moments where I flash back into younger Marine me and how much like it means to me. Like I feel it in my kind of soul as a Marine, and I know very deeply how much it's impacting people because it's very personal in those moments. I don't just hear it as the working Gary Sinise Foundation employee, Cristin. I receive it as not only family member growing up in the military, but also very much the Marine Cristin can hear it very much to my bones. And so
that's all stuff you know now.
That's all stuff I know now. Yes.
At that time,
but before I had no clue. Yeah.
So you come for an interview at the Gary Sinise Foundation.
I went through the ringer. I went through all the layers.
Did you Google around and try to figure out what was going on?
I did. I researched it. I saw. I dove in as much as I could and looked at news articles and all sorts of things and saw, oh, this isn't just Hollywood actor Gary. This is like mission forward Gary. And I distinctly remember researching and being like, oh, like. This is me. Like these are all things that are very personal to me, like very ingrained.
As a veteran.
And as my dad being a first responder and like it all, it was very, very quickly where I just thought, okay, I don't care if you just pay me with smiles. Like I will get, like I really want this. Like I very much want to be a part of this.
So what happened?
So I did the interview I did the first layer and then the second layer. And I remember the final, they were like, okay, we're going to bring you in for another interview. And there was potential I was going to meet you. And I remember being terrified, but also like, okay, like this is great news. It's all looking good from here. And Judy Otter was the one who was like prepping me and like, okay, you're gonna meet him. And I'm like, okay. And we were in her office at the time. It was after she had done her interview with me. And then you walked in and started asking me, sitting down and just sat down like it was nothing and just started asking me questions. And I remember years later, you told me that Judy had prepped you for the meeting. Do you remember this?
Yes, a little bit. Yeah, she prepared me a little bit.
She prepared you to meet me. And do you remember what she told you?
Take a deep breath,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she said, she's a lot or something.
There's a little energy there.
She's high energy or something. And I remember, that sums it up. And I remember though, meeting you though, and it's as if time kind of slowed down and everything stopped a bit, and it just seemed, and that's how you are also with everybody that you meet, and especially with meet and greets. And what I started to witness very, very early on was it's not like what I noticed very quickly with me helping you with meeting people and meet and greets, and there's lines and lines of people, and it was the change in the person when you first meet them to the change in them when they're walking away. It's visual. It's not only, you can also feel it. There's a shift in their body and in the room where it just feels lighter, and they feel seen and they feel heard, and you just have this natural, and I knew that from the moment I met you, that there was just something very different. It's kind of like your superpower. And so my goal after that was, I just said, I'm gonna make him meet everybody. Everybody's gonna have this moment. Like, how can I make it to where everybody gets this essentially like this moment of just, it's like you're almost like a walking, like a healing balm on people. And so from there it became, okay, how can I get on these meet and greets more people to just have a moment? Because for you, it's the power of showing up. Like you show up, but it's this moment where like the world stops for people and they just get to feel seen by you. And that has been probably, from the very beginning, that was kind of this little testament, like this promise I made myself that I was like, okay, that I can do. Like that became my purpose, essentially, was how do I help you with just this mission?
Was there anything surprising about coming to work for the foundation that
yes.
you didn't expect? And
Your energy level? They say I'm that energy. We always do a little more. Runs very deep. Your schedule, you had like 5 calendars at the time, I remember, and like 4 emails, and you were just, I remember being like, whoa, and you never stop, and how it was, okay, if we're gonna go to this one thing, how can I fit 10 things while I'm doing this one thing? And just the air traffic controlling of, okay, how do we fit all these things? Because I was like, let's, however many people can be around you and here and just feel the love that you have for them. Like, let's do it. And
so folks,
yeah.
Cristin started, I was looking for an assistant.
Yeah.
And Cristin started as my assistant all those years ago, back in 2014.
Yep.
So what she's telling you about is just how she had to kind of figure out how to balance everything that I was involved in. I was still shooting television at that time.
You were.
So we were balancing television schedule with the,
very
some movies that I was still actively involved in, plus the band going around and playing concerts everywhere, and all the various aspects of the foundation life that we had to do. And she had to learn all of that to manage it. But like I said, when I saw Cristin at work for a colonel, I thought, well, the colonel's busy. The colonel's got to go here, there, and everywhere, and he's got to have somebody who's paying attention to everything. Mm-hmm. And 2 years of working with the colonel, I think, prepared you for well to manage the scheduling and all the different aspects of what was going on. And I needed somebody really, who was going to think out ahead of me all the time. So, because if I'm constantly thinking that I have to remind the person who's supposed to remind me of where I'm going, then that's not going to work. And when you came to work for me at that time, it took you a little while.
It did.
But
there was a lot.
There was a few things that I think were dazzling about being around it all and everything, and you had to kind of settle into it and everything. But you did that quickly, and you did it really well, and it became something that was really a comfort and a support to me. That was very, very important, very important. Now you've worked for the foundation for over a decade.
Yeah.
Right.
Going on 12 years. Right?
Yeah. Man, you were my executive assistant for a good portion of that.
Yep.
And now you're our vice president of marketing and communications at the Gary Sinise Foundation. When you made that transition from, okay, I'm just managing all things Gary's schedule and what Gary's doing and everything, to managing the overall communication and marketing of the foundation, the look, the brand, and everything. What was that transition like for you? Because you seem, having that sort of communications background, you were well suited and well prepared for it.
Oh yeah.
But you hadn't been focused on that. We had other people that were dealing with that, and it was a very good decision, I think. I was really that you would take over that entire department and kind of rise to be one of the vice presidents here at the Gary Sinise Foundation. What was the transition into that like for you? Were you just like, I kind of remember it was a sort of, okay, step on the gas and pull out the stops.
This is happening.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you were like super ready and had a lot of ideas.
Oh yeah, yes. It was exciting. It was definitely exciting. It was not as difficult as I would think that it would almost seem, because at the time I was managing all of your social media, branding, press, everything that was you, I was managing that. And so we really, in a way, as I thought of it, I just integrated. It was like Gary Sinise and Gary Sinise Foundation became one in my mind. And so how do I then, blend these two together and then put it out there? So it was exciting. I had a lot of ideas. I love that having you and the brand and Gary Sinise Foundation unified, like you are the mission. It seems so simple in my mind. Like, it's you. This mission is ingrained in you. You are, it is at the heart of the Gary Sinise Foundation. So it wasn't learning anything. It was just integrating that into now doing it more from the voice of the Gary Sinise Foundation and you combined. So it wasn't very difficult at all. I think for me, the hardest part was actually letting go more of the you logistics side or the other side of things and really kind of diving in more into, okay, how do we connect you now, not only with the recipients, but also all the incredible donors and grateful Americans who are standing with you in this. And like, how do we connect you with them and connect them with the mission that you so just live every single day? And so that became more of my purpose. Like, how do we make it that where everybody's seeing that and feeling that? And that's the one of the greatest gifts. It is such a joy.
You've done a great job.
Thank you. It is.
I want to ask you something. So in 2017, Mac came to work for the foundation.
Yeah.
And at that time, your job was?
I was the director of chairman operations at that time.
Right. So you were still, it was your area of responsibility was expanding somewhat.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Because we were putting more underneath you that you'd be responsible for. But you were still, primarily focused on the chairman.
Yes. Yes.
And all that. So Mac came to work in your department.
Yep.
Tell us a little about that, because that was, you built a special relationship with Mac.
Yes. Yes. Mac came in, and I remember he was just coming in, essentially in the beginning was just kind of to just see what the whole foundation, like, what is all of this? And so in the beginning he was, I would say, a little bit like, this is my dad's thing. I want to learn about it, but it's still his. It's not really mine. So he had a great respect for it, but he didn't really feel like it was his passion. Because drumming, music was his passion. And so coming in, for me, it was more like, explaining, this is what this is, and getting him to kind of see it and feel it. And then as time went on, he started to dive even more in and feel such a passion and a pride for you and this. And it became very, very personal to him. And one of the things that we would do at the office was do the tours of the space. And I remember walking him through the tour because I wanted him to at some point be able to give the tour. And I look at him at one point and I go, Mac, like, I could tell these stories till I'm blue in the face, but like, this is your family. Like, this is your, uncle, this is your aunt. And there was this moment where he felt such this pride of, like, this is him. And from that day forward, I could never give a tour because Mac would always be the one to go, no, I'm doing it. Because he had such this joy of sharing those personal stories. And it was so much fun. I call us the dream team. And we just being on the mission and diving into his history. And he was really into the archive, which was his history. It's his too. And seeing all that you had impacted and taken your Hollywood career and turning into this force of good. And the more he was on the mission, my goodness, like, what a change to see in him, of just knowing that this was his future. Like, this is what he loved so much. to like his core, and to be a part of that, and to like such a friendship we developed over that, because we both had this unifying alignment with this mission, and something that I like hold very dear. And when he got sick, I remember thinking like at first just like, there's no way it could be anything terrible. Like it can't be bad. You know, there's just no way. And as time went on, and Max, everything with his appointments, everything, it was always revolved around him being in the office, because that was his joy. Like that's where he found such just uplifting to him. It was something beyond himself. And so as he started, you know, as it started to progress, he had to pull away more from the foundation. I could see how difficult that was for him. And it was one of the hardest times of talking to him, was just him navigating. He has such a joy for this, and yet he's unable to be there and be a part of it. And so then we talked about, from there was obviously the podcast too, which you've shared about, which was just, we thought through. I remember the phone call, we were talking through. Our whole conversation was, how can you still, like, okay, let's figure it out. Like, how can you still be a part? Like, we got to think about, there's other ways that you can still be a part of the mission, because that was his main focus, was, I don't want to stop. I still want to do this. Like I still have more to give, and I can do this. And so, and at the time, podcasts were just up and coming, and he thought, you know, what about a podcast? And I thought, holy yes. Like, and it wasn't video at the time, it was just mostly audio. And we're like, who better to do the podcast than you? Like, done. I don't think I actually ended up asking for permission if he could get all this stuff to do the podcast. We were like, do it. Like, get whatever you need, get it set up. Like, let's do this. I think this is the greatest idea. Go for it. Whatever you have to get. And he was so excited to do the research of all, and I know that he called Kip, and he was trying to navigate, like, what are all the microphones? And I mean, we had conversations so much about just how excited he was to do this, and how this was going to be it. That was going to be the tie. He would do it forever.
I remember when Mac told me about the idea.
Yeah.
And I was so happy.
Yeah.
That because it just was lifting him up to know that, hey, even if I'm fighting cancer here, there's something I can do to contribute to the foundation, even if I can't get into the office.
Yep.
Because he knew that, you know, he could just set up his microphone and whatever, wherever, even at home. In fact, there he is.
Yep.
You know. Right there.
Yep. And he was a natural.
That's the podcast that he did with me right there.
Yep.
And he he was truly hoping that he could continue on. And the story goes, of course, that after he died, I was listening to that one that he did with me. I remember I was walking in our neighborhood, and I was just, you know, I was sad. I mean, very, and I just wanted to connect with Mac, and I was listening to that, and I thought, we need that idea to live on. And I remember picking up my cell phone, which I was listening to it on my cell phone as I was walking along, and I called you. Standing there, I remember right where I was in my neighborhood, and said, Cristin, I've got an idea.
I went,
you know, we're gonna.
Yes.
Yeah, Cristin was all excited. Yeah, great, an idea.
What is
and I'm
it?
like, we're gonna start the podcast again. We're gonna resurrect the podcast.
Yep.
She's like, great,
Yes!
that sounds good. That's a great idea. And I said, you're gonna be the host. And then there was this like pause on the other end of the line, because of course you thought I was going to be the host.
I did. I
or
thought,
something
this
like
is
that.
genius. And then when you said it was me, I thought, are you sure?
And I said, you're going to be the host of the podcast. Mac worked for you, and you guys had talked about this all, and and everything, and we're gonna get it going like right away.
Oh yeah.
And that's when, just out of the blue, Terry Yance happened to read the story that I posted on the website about Mac, and she was very moved by the story and made a donation in his honor, and kind of said I could decide how to spend it. And we were just about ready to, figure out, okay, how do we get the podcast going? We got to make a studio. We got to get some equipment and everything. And thank you, Terry, because that came right at the right time. We were just starting to talk about building a studio. And all of a sudden we had the funds to do it. We didn't have to worry about that. We were able to take a portion of those funds, give it to the foundation to support the podcast, and then the other portion of the funds to the Cordoma Foundation. And they created a fund in Mac's honor called the Mac Fund, and that's been raising money to support additional research and to take care of future patients and all kinds of things. So that donation has helped a lot of people, and Mac, continues to help people through the Gary Sinise Foundation and the podcast that you host here, and of course through the Mac Fund at the Cordoma Foundation. Hey, Alon, hand me. See that photograph back there of Mac? Yeah, bring that over here.
Oh.
So I love this photograph. Can you see it, everybody?
Those are the good old days.
That's a great shot of Mac and Cristin. They loved each other and worked really, really. They worked really great together, and I know he's feeling happy and honored that you are doing this podcast, in his name. It's the Mac Sinise Memorial Podcast.
It is.
And you've interviewed a lot of great people.
Yeah.
This is our third season, right? We're going into our third season. It's hard to believe. Our third season. Have you had any? I mean, every guest is special,
Yes.
But I guess you have to have a favorite guest, don't you?
Well, of course. It's my recurring guest. I think he would be. There are times where I come into this room or before the guest arrives, or I always look at the photo of him and I'm always asking him for help and guidance in it. And I know that there's this part of him that's just like, he would never have believed almost, that it's like, look how far it's come, and this, tiny little idea, and look how it is. It's the same thing with the music for you. It's like, he continues to inspire, and it is an absolute honor to be a part of that, to help that, to move that into, reality. And just, he's always here. I feel him so clearly while we're in here. And I can hear him taunting sometimes, like, get it together, you're fine, or like just calm down, it's okay, but I am just so honored to be a part of this and to just continue his legacy.
I know he's thrilled that the podcast is reaching a lot of people, and that we're introducing the world to a lot of great Americans on the podcast.
That was his passion.
He wanted to do that, and that his music, Resurrection and Revival, parts 1, 2, and now part 3 is in the works. We'll be talking about that later in the podcast season. But all of his music continues to support the foundation, and the purchase of the vinyls continue to go to help the mission of the Gary Sinise Foundation.
Yep.
So anyway, season 3 is coming up.
Yes.
So just briefly, what can our audience expect in season 3? And, just more of the great sameness of season 1 and 2.
That's it. That's really at the heart of the podcast. It's really, which started with Mac, which is just sharing the stories of sacrifice and sharing the stories and shining a light on our heroes and their families. And this one, we're going to also have some of the children of our fallen as well, and our wounded and our first responders, and just shining a light on them.
Well, Cristin, look, I'm gonna gush a little bit because I'm so proud of what you've done at the Gary Sinise Foundation, and grateful for everything you've done to help me, our family, Mac, and the foundation to get to this point. You've been with the foundation pretty much longer than anybody who's worked here with me, and you've seen it go from kind of a smaller effort to a very large effort that's helping thousands of people, and you've been a major part of that in so many ways. I'm so grateful to you and proud of you.
Thank you.
For the great work that you're doing. I don't want to get all blubbery and choked up right now. I've done enough of that, but I just want to say thank you, for everything you've been doing. You're doing a great job, and I think it's important that you close out the show.
And as we do with every podcast episode, Mac will close out the show.
You've been listening to GSF Podcast, the official podcast of the Gary Sinise Foundation. If you'd like to find out more about what the foundation is up to, or if you'd like to make a donation, please visit GarySiniseFoundation.org. Make sure to tune in next time for more interviews, and thanks for joining us.